Hey everybody, foodies. We are making a dish tonight. We're gonna take these big freaking peppers and turn them into Philly cheesesteak stuffed peppers. So we're gonna walk you through the process tonight. First thing you gotta do before you're going is have your wine. So, you have some wine standing by because you gotta enjoy yourself while you're cooking. Turn on a little jazz. This little thing's aerating it. It's kind of cool. It's like a gargoyle on top. So we're gonna chop these peppers open, clean them out, and then tonight we're gonna use one of the best meats you can use in a Philly cheesesteak. We're gonna use ribeye. You can definitely, if you're doing this, use sirloin or strips of whatever, but we're gonna use ribeye because we want it to taste really good. And right now we've got 3 big old ribeyes ready to go, and we're sous videing those. Those are cooking right now in sous vide. So those are gonna be done here about the time that we're ready to chop them up and sizzle them and put them inside the peppers. But ribeye is really flavorful. It's got lots of fat in it, so it's really good meat, and it's gonna be really soft because we did it sous vide. So we're also kind of showing you one of my favorite steak techniques tonight, because we're gonna take these sous vide steaks and we're gonna flame torch them to make them really nice, and we're gonna slice them and dice them to get them all chopped up to go with the other stuff inside these peppers. So you're gonna see that tonight too. So to start off, I'm gonna have a swig, and then first thing we're gonna do is gonna get these peppers sliced up, cleaned out, and we're gonna get these in the oven to soften them up. So this is a multi-stage process. We're gonna slice them in half, clean them out. We are gonna put them in the oven like that, olive oil them, put a little bit of flavors in it. We're gonna get them in the oven and get them baking so they're nice and softened up. We're gonna bring them back out, and we are gonna do the rest of the process where we're loading them with sauteed onion and mushroom and the steak all together and some seasonings. And then we're loading provolone inside the pepper and on top of it, and then they go back in the oven again to let that all melt together into one lovely glutinous mass that we get to eat and enjoy together. And the rest of our meal tonight, besides the peppers, we are gonna make a side wedge salad to go with that. And let's get started. So first off, we're gonna slice these. Well, first I'm gonna core them. I'm gonna take this green thing out with a paring knife. Don't cut your fingers off, but we don't wanna lose a bunch of the pepper meat while we're doing this. So we don't want big old holes, so just try to take your time and be careful just getting that out so that we got a nice clean pepper. And we're just gonna take these right down the middle. So just right down the middle, there you go. And then you take your paring knife or a spoon or whatever you want to clean out just a little bit of this. Just, you know, the seed pop, dump it there in your food aerator. Oh, look at this. This had a little pepper inside of a pepper. That's pretty cool. Don't need that though. So that's like when you crack open an egg and you find a little chicken growing inside. That's kind of weird. All right, so we're just gonna do that for each of these. We've got 4 of them here. Pop the middle. Same thing, we'll just repeat this 4 times. We'll be back with you in just a second. All right, we're down to our last one here, but I want to show you everything that we're doing. So you can see these are really, really cleaned out. So for each one, we're cleaning it out, and we're also taking the spines and all the white out so that we get as much room as we can for all the good stuff we're gonna stuff in there. You got plenty of pepper on the outside, we don't need all that. So one way to do this, I mean, if you wanna be really careful with a paring knife, you can, but there's a chance of jabbing through and cutting holes. So a spoon is a really good method. It's not too sharp to just take all the guts out of that. And then you're gonna be left with like all the white stuff gone, the spine out of the middle, and just give it a quick rinse, get your seeds out of it, and they're ready to go. Now I'm gonna take a paper towel and I'm just gonna quick pat dry these because we don't need a bunch of moisture in here right before we bake them. And the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take these, and to help them taste good and to cook fast, we're gonna spray these down with some olive oil. We're gonna dust it with a little bit of flavoring, some seasoning. And see, this one's got a little bit of spine in there, a little bit more than I want. So I'm gonna just take that out of there with a spoon really quick. Leave lots of room for the cheesesteak stuff, because that's what this is all about, the cheesesteak. Love me some cheesesteak. People always tell me I need to get a grip. So tonight my grip is Amber. Amber is holding the camera for me. She's my key grip tonight. Thank you, Amber.
You're welcome.
All right, so I got me a grip. All right, our peppers are all done here. We got 8 of them, and just for fun, like we've got red, we've got yellow, we got orange. If you shop at Costco at all, which is great, you can get a big old pack of these with like 8 or 10 of them in it. And you can see, you know, it takes one to make two things. So Costco's got them with all the colors together, and it's kind of fun to have all the colors. So Costco's a great place to get your big peppers if you're doing that. All right, we're ready to go. So we are gonna get a tray here, a cookie sheet. Get them ready to cook here, and we're gonna take just a can of spray olive oil. You can use avocado oil as well, but spray is easy because it's gonna get down in the cracks. If you have to use pour on, it's gonna be a little more difficult. And we're just gonna set those on the tray one at a time and line them up, and they're gonna be ready to go. And then we're gonna dust them. So really quick with the spray, makes it really easy. Again, olive oil, avocado oil, keep the nice good oils, stay away from that cooking spray junk, all that junk. All right, beautiful. Don't forget to stop every once in a while. Enjoy the process. All right, I'm gonna take some Johnny's garlic spread. Smells wonderful. It's got garlic and salt and all these flavors. And garlic always goes good with things like cheesesteak. Gotta get solid oil off my hands here. And I'm gonna use that tonight because it's just kind of a buttery, yummy flavor. And another option that Costco's got that I love this truffle Parmesan black garlic. I put this in so much stuff, whether it's omelets, steaks, anything I make, this adds depth to it. The black truffle is just phenomenal. Probably gonna use that with the cheesesteak later, but for now I'm gonna use some Johnny garlic salt down in here. It's not garlic salt, sorry, it's garlic spread. It's not salty that bad. And we're just gonna dust these definitely down inside and just let that bake into it, just to add a little extra something to these cheesesteaks beyond just the cheesesteak. I always like to spice up dishes and make them a little more flavorful than just the regular recipe. All right, so that's done. Those are ready to go in the oven. So we're gonna just put these in the oven. We got the oven set up at 450, and we just let these rock and roll for about 20, 30 minutes until they're nice and just juicy and ready to go. We'll move on to the next step. The next step, we're gonna start getting the guts, so the inside, the filling ready for these things. And we are gonna chop up and saute red onion, mushrooms, and we're gonna do that with some olive oil and, some garlic butter. So we want it to be flavorful. We're gonna do some garlic butter and just saute those up. And then we're gonna get the steak ready. We're gonna saute that, set it aside. We're gonna get the steak ready, slice that up and dice that all up for you. And then we are actually gonna take the steak and we're gonna, because we don't want the steak to cook any much more than it already is. It's already medium rare, it tastes wonderful. So we don't really want it to cook and get beyond medium rare any more than we have to. So we're gonna slice it, dice it, and we're gonna toss that in with our sauteed filling at the last minute. We're not gonna sear it in the pan with those because then it's gonna be like past medium rare. So that's what we're gonna do. Steak different, saute the veggies and stuff different, mix them together at the very end, and then get it stuffed into the peppers with the Parmesan or the provolone cheese, and we'll get it back in the oven. So let's get ready. All right, so we are gonna get the red onion and the mushrooms ready. I like to, on my onions, take that really high shiny peel on the outside. It usually is more like skin and just doesn't taste as good. And get to the crisp stuff. I just toss that. And then we're just gonna chop this down about 1/4-inch pieces, 1/4-inch slices. Just gonna slice down through there. And then we're gonna use this cleaver and just chop these and, oops, to watch myself. Take my finger off, this thing's sharp. Just 1/4-inch slices. Yeah, this one, ooh, almost got myself there. And this I'm gonna do 1/4-inch this way so I don't have to get too close to my fingers. All right, and then with the cleaver or any kind of thing that's got a little bit of a bow to it, it's really easy next to just start rocking this at 1/4-inch or 1/2-inch pieces. We're just gonna try to do 1/4-inch and just kind of rock and roll back and forth over what's there and get them down to those nice small chunks. Those little rolls are already kind of cuts for you, right? So you can just work your way down the coil there, little 1/4-inch chunks. And we're gonna have a ton of this. I don't know if we'll need quite this much onion, but I don't need a bunch of leftover onion in the fridge really, so. We're actually gonna use some of this red onion on the wedge salads too. So we'll keep a little bit around for that. All right, look around for any like leftover big long chunks. We don't need big giant pieces of onion in here. Sweet. All right, so we're gonna leave, like I said, a little bit around for the salads. And these little flexible boards, these plastic ones are nice. This hard one's good for chopping. I mean, you can chop on this too, but these little flexible boards are nice because you can just like take all your ingredients and dump them right into the pan later. So I'm just gonna like push all the stuff that I want over onto here for the saute pan. Put a little aside for the salad. Woo! I'm glad that's not yellow or white onion because the red onion's starting to kick, but yellow or white would be burning me. This is really good. All right, next we're gonna take our mushrooms and do kind of the same thing. We're just gonna get these down to reasonable sized pieces because again, this is all going together kind of in a, whoo, onions are getting me. Let's see if wine helps. Wine always helps. Get these down to small faint chunks in a kind of a, sauce and meat and stuff that'll fit inside those peppers. So, thinking back to the peppers, as big a peppers as you can find. Those big peppers at Costco are great, but even those are kind of the medium to large range. If you can get all like giant ones, obviously you can fit more into the pepper. So shop around for what you really want. We're just gonna rock and roll this. I do have, getting across like a bigger batch of stuff here, I do have a longer knife that I can roll just a little bit more. And mushrooms are just super soft. Like you can just go right through these like butter. Just gotta get them all down to some small chunks. Go both directions. Woo! I'm making a mess, but that's what cooking's about, having some fun. All right, these are basically there. And when we saute these mushrooms, they'll shrink up a little bit, but basically you can see now between the onion and the mushroom, you can see that you've got plenty here to make and stuff with meat to make stuff about 6 to 8 of those things. All right, we're ready. So next we're gonna shift to sauteing. All right, so we've got our veggies, again, mushrooms, onion ready to go. We've got ourselves melted down with about four tablespoons of garlic butter. This is again Costco. Costco's your friend. This stuff's really, really good. I use it on top of steak. I use it in lots of stuff. Love it. So we're gonna do these in garlic butter. Melted the butter down, but turn it down. We're gonna let these saute slowly. We don't want the butter to burn. If it was olive oil or avocado or something with higher temperature, it would be a little safer. With butter, it'll burn a little faster. Don't burn your butter, you ruin everything. And again, these wonderful little cutting boards are soft, flexible. You can dump everything in without spilling. And now we're ready to go. We're gonna get everything doused with this butter. Get the saute going. Oh yeah, this is gonna be great. Get this all mixed up. Wonderful. These hex-clad pans are wonderful. They do work pretty good, especially since you can use metal if you want. It's pretty awesome. So the butter's getting spread evenly over everything as we toss it. Yeah. And then we want to think beyond just the butter flavor, which is great. We're also going to throw on here a little bit of that black truffle powder. Stuff's wonderful, so I'm going to dash that all over it. Let that cook in there with it. It's got a little bit of Parmesan flavor and then that black truffle flavor. Toss that into it. Just keep turning this over. If you don't know how to toss, that's fine. Use your spatula or whatever, but just get everything coated really well. And we're sitting at about 5 or 6, so medium. And we're just gonna let these sizzle until they get soft. This is all gonna be in with that mix with the meat and stuff, and it's gonna get cooked within the cheese. So you don't necessarily need to get these down to like browning them. That's kind of cool if you can, but again, just be aware of burning. You don't wanna be burning this butter. So we're gonna let those sizzle for a minute and saute. And I'm also gonna throw in some Italian seasoning on top of this, because that's really good, because Philadelphia is loaded with Italians, man. Italiano. Where is my Italian seasoning? Here we go. Dash that in there. Yeah, this is really gonna spice it up too. Woo! There we go. We're gonna toss this one more time. Again, if you can get used to an edge and tossing, it's just a forward and back. Let that stuff shoot up and catch it. It's way easier to spread things around and flip them over like in batches like this than it is to try to like get it all with the spatula and turn it over and stuff. That's kind of a pain. So the tossing method's kind of cool if you can get it down. All right, we're just gonna spread it out even. and let that simmer for a little bit. Our veggies are simmering really good. Get a little sizzling. In the meantime, I'm thinking ahead to the salad. So wedge salad's awesome with bacon. Love, love, love bacon. Costco, again, love Costco, has these big bags of bacon bits in the salad aisle typically with all, you'd think it needs to be in the fridge because it's bacon, it doesn't. After you open it, it needs to be in the fridge. But over in the salad area, they have these big bags, pre-cut, pre-crumbled, ready to go bacon. It's really good to be able to just get a bunch of this and put it in something that needs bacon bits. But I do like my bacon crispy when it's on stuff. So this bacon in here is kind of soft. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab for the salad just a couple handfuls of these bacon bits, and I'm gonna get them kind of cooking in a pan, and well, I'm down to the end of the bag, so I might as well use all of it. I'm gonna let these also simmer and get a little bit crispy. I'm gonna dump them out on a paper towel and let the grease kind of soak off of them so it's just a crispy bacon bit and not oily, and we're gonna use those on our wedge salads. So our bacon is done. You can see it's sizzling. It's got lots and lots of oil. We don't want the oil, so I'm just gonna pour it out here on a paper towel, these bacon bits. Set the pan aside, and then take this and just put it over the top. Ooh, it's a little bit warm, but that's okay. We just want to let all the oil soak out. And then it doesn't matter if they're hot, cold, these are going on a salad, right? So we just want the crispiness, and we don't want the oiliness. You see how that looks? They're just like gonna soak in there. It's gonna be ready to go. We'll put that, get that ready on the side as a garnish for those salads. The other thing we're gonna do is we're gonna dice up some cherry tomatoes. We'll get that ready here for you in just a second. So if we look at our veggies over here, they are simmered down really good. The red onion is almost turning white, and this is all ready to go. It's hot. So we're gonna set this aside, and it's time to start working on the steak. All right, so before we get to the steak, our timer went off, our bell peppers are ready. So we're gonna pull these out. They look beautiful, nice to the point where they're soft. There's a little bit of browning happening. That's wonderful. You can see that the juices and the olive oil and stuff that we use is all kind of pulling up in there. And I can just tell by looking at them, they're soft enough. But I'm gonna give them a little poke test. Yeah, they're all flexible. They get into the jelly state. These are perfect. All right, so we're ready to make up the insides of that, if you will, put together all the stuff. But the steak comes next. For those of you who are not sous videing your steak, obviously, sirloin, whatever else, at this point, hopefully, you cut your steak up and you've sauteed it in a pan or cooked it the way you want to get it to a nice soft consistency, not overcooked, but a little bit of browning is always nice. So torching it, searing it, whatever you got to do to mix with your veggies to go in there, and then we're going to dice them down to small chunks. We're going to take ours out of the sous vide now and show you how this works. So I'm going to move this bacon aside, and so come on over here, camera. Sous vide's kind of interesting. We're actually cooking meat in water. Of course, the water is not actually touching the meat. This is set right around medium rare at 130. You can go 128 to 132 for medium rare. I'm going 130 because I know we're going to mix this with the veggies and cook it and toss it a little bit more. And I know it's going back into the oven, and I want us to keep it close to medium rare, and I don't want it to go to medium if I can help it. It's going to be juicy either way, but that's what I'm trying to do. So I'm going a little bit lower, around 130. So you see I've got 3 ribeyes, because I got to load about eight things over there. We'll see how much meat we got. Maybe we'll have leftovers, maybe we won't. It looks kind of weird when you pull these out of the bag, because they haven't cooked on a grill, they haven't cooked on a stove, so they're wet and they're colorless in that they don't have blackness on them yet. And that's why we're going to go torch them to get that outside grill feel and taste to them. But all you do is cut the bag off, dump out any juices that may have been with it. And I pre-vacuum pack these when I buy them. And then I automatically pepper and salt, and I use that other spices in it. I rub them, vacuum pack them, and I freeze them. If I'm doing it fresh, then it goes right in. If I'm going to be cooking them later, then I put them in the freezer, and it's that simple. And I just pull them out and put them in the sous vide. So with sous vide, if you're going to torch them, like we're going to do, we're going to blow torch here in a second. You want the steak to be as dry as possible. So we first are going to paper towel these off. So they just came out of the bag. They're super wet and juicy and yummy. We're just going to paper towel them down so that when we torch it, we're getting the effect of the torch on the surface. We're not trying to cook the meat on the inside at all. It's all perfect medium rare right now. And we're just going to try to torch the outside as quick as we can. So high BTUs will get the outside done and without cooking the inside. So you can see it's kind of like this just kind of colorless stuff right now, but it's a perfect medium rare right now. So we're gonna do that to all 3 of these, and I'll be back with you. All right, so we are gotta do this part outside. This is the torching of the steaks. And we're just gonna go and put these on the barbecue grill. You need a place that can handle high flame. I've done this in the house before and it ruined some things, so I just decided to do it outside now. But just gonna set the steaks down. These are some big old beautiful ribeyes. Have them ready to go. And this is my sous vide gun. You can get these online from Souvide. These are the best in terms of just doing steaks and getting that outside done really quickly. Lots of times barbecuers and grills, they just take forever to get up in temperature. They don't go up to 900 like you want a lot of times. This is super high BTUs. You can stick this to a propane can or even your propane tank with a hose that they sell with this. You just kick it on and you just torch it 30, 40 seconds aside and you're done, and they're beautiful. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna kick it on. See, that melts the fat. Get all the way around the edges. Get the top really black. No time at all, you've got a seared fish steak, right? All right, so we got these beautiful steaks ready to go. We're gonna use a big long meat knife. Wine's opening up, it tastes wonderful. And we are just gonna slice these into thin little, about 1/4 inch width strips, and then down to maybe 1-2 inch pieces at a time so they can fit inside those shells. Oh, look at that, still stayed a beautiful medium rare. Torched on the outside. It's gonna taste so good. Oh yeah. Look at that. And we're just gonna slice a bunch of these really quick here. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. That is some, oh, it smells so good. I think I'm just having steak for dinner. Forget the rest of this prep. Oh, the smell coming off this is ridiculous. Again, this is a point I would actually be putting garlic butter on if I'm just having steak for dinner, letting it melt down. And then one of the things we like to do with friends when we make this is we don't like put a steak on everybody's plate. We actually like to slice it up just like this, but in bigger chunks. And everybody kind of family styles and comes over and just grabs as many strips as they want, and they can come back for more if they want. And that way you don't have like big old steaks for some people. They don't want to eat a big steak, and then some people like, you just keep coming back. So there's a whole board full of strips. Lets everybody kind of go family style on it. We're gonna do a couple of these here. Actually, we need to go down the middle on these and get them so they fit into these peppers. So we're gonna go about 1 inch wide on these. Oh, this is so soft. Oh, I'm cheating. That is the bomb. All right. Don't tell anybody. And this just cuts like butter. It's a perfect medium rare. The torched outside. If you're not drooling right now, then you shouldn't be working with food. Ooh, almost lost a piece. That stuff's so good, I would have 5-second ruled that. All right, 1 inch strips. So we're gonna start with this and see if we have enough. All right, 1/4 by 1. I think we have enough. And we're gonna take our sauteed veggies. You might remember these are nice and cool, so I'm okay putting this pan here on the countertop. And we're gonna just take these pieces of meat and we're gonna mix it in right with it. Toss it all together so that they commingle their flavors a little bit. Look at that. Oh yeah. Woo! I got still another piece. That looks so delicious. Oh, ribeye. That's where it's at. Heaven. Okay. We gotta get a sous vide. These things are just amazing. If your steak is already rubbed, ready to go, and it's not frozen, you can literally have a steak ready about an hour and a half sous vide, perfect. If it's frozen, I run them 3-4 hours. The cool thing is they can't overcook very easily or at all because it stays perfect temperature all the way through. So if you had it on a grill or a stove, you could obviously burn and fry and dry up your steak, leave it in sous vide an extra hour. Oops, so what, right? So anyway, so these are all tossed together. Oh baby, look at that. So that's ready to go. What we're gonna do next is we gotta work with the cheese for the Philly cheese, right? So we're gonna take our pan, looks like it's cooled down, I can touch it. We're gonna bring it over here next to our steak. Set that one piece of steak aside for a moment. All right, let's just pause, I'm gonna get the cheese out. All right, again, Costco, big packages of provolone cheese, can't beat it. So we're just gonna take all of these shells here, we're gonna put and press down a piece of provolone cheese in it. If it breaks up, that's perfect because it'll help you get it down into there. So one thing we've learned, I'm gonna be honest, it's the first time I made this, we're going on the fly here. One thing we've learned as we've done this is we think we probably should have cooked the shells upside down so they didn't flatten out as they softened up. So that's one thing we can do to keep it deeper and maybe just a touch less long. So we did this at 450 for 20 minutes. We probably would have been okay at 15. So they were still a little bit crispy. I'd say go 5 more. We actually didn't need it, that flattened it out. So we would get more room in for all the food if we didn't go quite as long. So again, take these provolone cheese slices, super simple. Just press them down as much as you can. Come on, provolone, do your thing. Just gonna rip this out of the package so I can get to the edges here. Just gonna rip it down into there, press it. Now, one thing to remember here is when we're putting this in, yeah, see how we rip it down the middle? It helps it actually fold over and get down in there better. Everything's already cooked. At this point, we're just all about getting this cheese to melt over these yummy stuffing, right? It's not about making a casserole and baking it at this point. It's just about getting this cheese to melt. So all we're gonna do now is we're gonna take yummy scoops of this and we're gonna put it in the middle, just like that. And we're gonna take one more slice and put it right over the top. And that's just gonna all melt together. And we'll probably end up spatula-ing these. It won't be as beautiful as maybe some deep peppers. But we're gonna spatula these off onto someone's plate, one at a time. And they're gonna have all the gooiness together. And get to just slice it up and dice it up and eat it with a knife and a fork. Again, it's more like that than it is like it's supposed to be some solid, beautiful thing. If I had super deep peppers, maybe, and I cooked them right, I probably could make it a little more presentable all within a shell. And we're doing, again, 8 of these. And that used up, you saw how much mushroom and onion and steak. We did 2 big ribeyes, and that's gonna be plenty for this. I like how ripping the cheese down the side helps you turn it and get it down into making a cup. I'm gonna do that on this one a little bit too. That holds the food in there a little more. Yeah, baby. Oh, that fat is so melty. I can feel it on my fingers. I know touching through my fingers is weird, but I'm gonna do it. I gotta help this. Oh yeah, here we go. All right, so let's finish with the provolone. And then we're throwing these back into the oven. We just left the oven rolling at 450 because we don't want to waste time reheating it again. It doesn't take long to do all this anyway. So we're gonna throw it back in at 450. Oh, looks like I need to go get another pack of provolone. And I will throw it in and we'll show you what it looks like after it's done melting. All right, so while the cheese is melting, we're gonna get these kind of pseudo wedge salads ready. And you can do a wedge with a romaine. Just take that hard end off, and then we're gonna slice it right down the middle. You can do halves or you can do quarters. We're gonna do quarters tonight, and just put it right on the plate. We get some greens, and you get actually a little more nutrition than you would with just straight iceberg. Iceberg's great because it's crispy. This is crispy too. And we're gonna put it there. We're gonna put all of our stuff on it. Actually, we're gonna do the dressing first so that everything can kind of stick to it. So I'm gonna plate these because the other stuff's gonna come right after. You get the blue cheese dressing. Again, big Costco one is awesome. And everything else can kind of stick. I don't have blue cheese, but it's the texture of it that's really nice. So I'm gonna use some feta and just chunk it up. I'm gonna use bacon bits. And I'm gonna use a little bit of red onion. A little more bacon bits, because who doesn't love more bacon? Oh my goodness. And a little bit of onion, we got the feta. Last thing we need, which should have had ready right before I did that, is the red tomatoes. So I'm gonna grab a handful of cherry tomatoes here, and we're just gonna slice these in thirds so that they're still big enough to see and eat, but small enough that they're not taking up and rolling around. Boom, thirds. And then you just take a knife full of those, and then boom, you've got a really beautiful green red setting. And then we're gonna set these aside. When the peppers come out, we'll just put it right next to it, and that plate is ready to go. All right, these went in for 10 minutes or 5 minutes. That's all it took for that provolone to melt perfectly over this. You can see the steak, see the inside, you see the pepper. And we're gonna finish this plating by just grabbing one of these right off of there, and that meal is ready to go. That is a killer meal. Keto to the core. We've got meat, we got cheese, we got peppers, salads, no tons of sugar. I mean, this is a delicious, delicious meal. You go to a restaurant, this is probably 50, 60 bucks with a steak and all, I don't know. We're probably making this thing for like $5, $6 a person. This is phenomenal. So